Hello and welcome back to the 10th Pint Podcast. We're here with me, Luke, as normal, and Beefham.
Yes, lad.
And today we're here with a very special guest, Ryan Corrigan. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming down. So we'll start off with, how did your sort of football journey begin?
How did my football journey begin? I used to play for a team called... we used to call him Jimmy Diamonds. His name used to be Jimmy. Longmore Diamonds. I played of a Sunday, and of a Saturday I used to play for Crocky Park, which is... It was well known. We've had Trent playing for Crocky Park at the time. We had me, we had Danny Walker, we had Abdi Sharif who was playing. We had a really good team, but it was literally from sevens. I think it was from sixes to 13s, 14s of proper players. So I literally just used to play up there up Scotty Road League, and I played and I was at the same time I was going to Liverpool and Blackburn. You know when before the ages of where you had to sign,
yeah,
and do all that type of thing. So I literally just got into it that way and just play football week in, week out, and then was trekking to Liverpool and trekking to Blackburn. Mum was taking me up to Blackburn and just literally playing, just flitting between them two clubs until it got to around about 8. And then Everton got in touch and was just sort of like, oh, do you fancy coming down and whatever? We really like to look here. So my dad pulled me arm and said, yeah, my dad's a big Liverpool loon, do you know what I mean? So I was like, give that a try, do you know what I mean? Have a go. And I went to Everton. Honestly, I just when you go to a place and you're just like, oh, I much prefer it here, Liverpool.
Yeah.
I was playing at Liverpool, same team as Curtis Jones and Nico Williams and all that. But it wasn't it just didn't feel good for me. It didn't feel like it's the same as Blackburn. But I went to Everton and I was just like, right, this is for me. And luckily enough, they offered me a contract when I was 9. So obviously the football at Crocky Park and Longmore Diamonds stopped and stuff like that. But I loved it, playing Scotty Road League, playing Sunday League as a kid. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely boss. But then that had to stop once I went to 9, and then I joined Everton from there, really, and then that's where it went.
What sort of in that contract then when you're 9 years old?
I don't know. It's literally just I think it's a contract of literally you're playing for Everton now, that's it. And then basically it does nothing. It's literally not. It's not like a contract as where you get your 3s and your 5 years. It's literally it's a year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it gets renewed at the end of the or whatever. At the decisions get redone and whatever. But it was just sort of basically you don't play for anyone else, and then even the schoolboys and stuff like that all stops. Because I don't think they said that it stops. I think they basically put you in a predicament of where they said, right, if you're playing for the schoolboys and whatever minutes you play for the schoolboys, it affects your minutes for us.
Yeah.
So if you're playing full games for them, they're gonna dock you, and you're like, oh, I don't want that. But I went to Everton. I was for the first year. I'd say I probably I really struggled. I had a really tough year. I can't remember starting many games. I was always on the bench. I just couldn't get going for some reason, one reason or another. I don't think particularly the manager I had at under-9s particularly liked me, as in not as any other way apart from I don't think he particularly rated me as a footballer that much, and other players were getting a game. So when it come round to decisions day, I remember the decisions day was we done when the academy meet the first team and you have that footy game. And I remember we had that, and I remember scoring a goal against Tim Howden, across the goal. And I remember him actually proper trying to save it. And I remember just belting one across him into the bottom corner. And I could swear he was fuming at the end of it when I went in. But I remember thinking, that's probably my last session here, because I was convinced that I was getting released. You know what I mean? I think my mum and dad were deep down. I think they were expecting it.
Yeah.
And then they went and he come back and he went, oh, you got another year? And I was like, you what? And they were like, yeah. And I was just sort of like, well. Even at 9, I just knew I was like, right, that's a stroke of luck. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think there was one manager who particularly liked me, Mick O'Brien, who used to play for Everton, Michael O'Brien, years ago, as a youth player. He particularly liked me. He was a left footer, and he was like, no, I really like you. You know what I mean? I think because he was a left footer, he had a little bit of a sway towards me, and from there, really, I think I kicked on under 10s. I had a fella called Paul Harris, who's now in Canada. He's back at Crewe. He's coaching that Crewe, and then I had Mick O'Brien and whatever, but I really kicked on from them. So I was literally went from not playing and whatever to getting more games and really kicking on in my younger years as I was growing. Do you know what I mean?
I think that happens with quite a lot of footballers, where they just sort of suddenly become a lot better.
Yeah.
You see yourself, don't you? I think a lot of it's down to physical attributes when you're a kid. And then someone just grows as a growth spurt, and then they're bigger than everyone.
Yeah.
More powerful. It's mad.
It is. I was always a decent size in that, but I don't know what it was. I think maybe I went there. I think I went into my bubble a little bit. I remember thinking I was probably a decent player in Sunday League. I was a good player. And I remember going there. I remember no, coming out my shell and being like, actually, I'm a good player, you know what I mean? Give me the ball. I think maybe I went into my shell on that side, and under 10s, I was always a decent size, and I think I got belief off the manager who sort of, you're a good player. You've got a good left foot, and he converted me into sort of like the left back spot, and because I used to always play in midfield, and he converted me into sort of the left, because we used to only play like 8-a-side then, so it was like I think it was like a 2-4-1 formation we used to play, obviously with the keeper 8-a-side, and he just put me at left side, and then from there I like really kicked on. I used to drive with the ball forwards, overlap, get back, defend, and from there that's where it really kicked on for me. But as you say about like the growths and stuff like that, people, you have lads who are like there and you just think, well, they're all right, and then you soon boom and you think, and he's amazing, do you know what I mean? Like the first one, like going on to like one of the examples, that's Cole Palmer, like unbelievable. Like when you get to it later, but he was the exact same. He was teeny and he was like, you always knew he was a proper player, and then once he went like that, it was like, wow, do you know what I mean? You know, proper player.
Sometimes it can go the other way, like, because one person I can think of is like Ryan Brewster. Like he was meant to sort of be like the next best thing him, and he was like bagging it in, or like I think was it under 19s World Cup or under 17s
when Foden and all that were in it.
Yeah, he was like sort of seen as a star player, and then now he's like he might pick up like, but he's struggling at Sheffield United, weren't he?
Yeah, it's just
that fitness, isn't it, with him? A lot of players that happens with, doesn't it? Just recurring injuries, like Calvert-Lewin now, isn't it, for example?
Yeah,
great player, but if he's not on the pitch,
you get through, and it snowballs, doing it's like a snowball effect. They try and come back, they get another little niggle. They're out for another. They come back for like 6 or 7 games. They're on the bench for a few of them. Come on, they're not scoring goals. It's just like, you know what I mean? Big snowball effect, and like you need to break your luck, don't you? Like I've seen a stat before, like that tube, that Akpom at Middlesbrough. Yeah, I scored something like 20 odd goals in 120 odd games in the league, and he's scored 30 odd in like 25 for Michael Carrick or something. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like. And that's just how it works sometimes. If you're it's like a roller coaster, and when you're on a high, you're flying.
There's confidence in it though. The more you do something normally with anything, you get better at it. The more you do, and obviously if you just like keep getting injured, like it must be so frustrating mentally as well.
Yeah, the more you're free. Like the one good thing about me when I was around that age, I never used to get injured. So I was obviously like training 3-4 times a week consistently every single week. I don't think I had a proper injury until I was 14. I think that was probably a big one for me as well. I think that affected a lot of the decision, my pathway to move elsewhere. When I got injured when I was 14. I broke my ankle and snapped all my ligaments. And what's funny was my brother was refereeing the same game. So my brother refereed me. I was playing against Wolves. I was 14. I was playing for the under 15s, and I went off for an header and I landed on my ankle, and my ankle just went kaplunk. And I remember my brother coming over saying, "Come on, get up." And I was in bits. I was like, I ain't gonna getting up here. I didn't even want to look at my ankle, do you know what I mean? In the end, I got stretched off and whatever. And then that was my first injury, but that was like 14. So I've had like 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s. That was halfway through 14. So I've had like near enough 6 years there of every week, do you know what I mean? Not being injured, doing whatever. And then, whereas like a lot of lads would get like shin splints and they get like, you know, stuff with the heels and growths. And that's what back problems a lot of lads used to, and you can't help that when they're growing as well, because there's nothing else that you can do apart from getting shut down. You know what I mean? Like you just I have 10 weeks off, but you seriously cannot do anything for it? No. There's nothing that you can do for like your shin splints or your bad back. If it's, do you know what I mean? If you like slip the disc or anything like that, that's the way it was. So I think I was fortunate of having like 5 odd years of just being like footy. And while other people were dipping and coming out of injuries and whatever, I was always there training and grafting.
What would you say your best season was at Everton?
My best season I'd probably say me under, I don't know, to be honest. I think me under 13s and under 4. Me under 13s probably was the main one. I'd probably say I played really well in the under 13s for Conor Littlejohns. I think he's still there now. Done really well for him. And that was when it just become to 11 aside. So I was playing left back then, do you know what I mean? And then obviously I went into 14s, and I think I went to Milk Cup with 2 years older. Do you know what I mean? So I went with like an age group which was rare. You know what I mean? I got a letter come. I was a bit like, okay, I'm going to Milk Cup with 2 years older. And I remember starting against Corinthians. So that's when I sort of believed. I was a bit like, oh, these rate me here. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't just go to the Milk Cup and start 2 years up and play against Corinthians first game of the tournament and whatever. So I think that was when I started being like, okay, so I've done really well in the under 13s. I must have made an impression, but the 14s came, and then that's where I sort of had my injury against Wolves, playing for the 15s, I think I did, and that put me out for about 4 months. And then that was when City had come in for me and that. But around 13s, 14s earlier on, I had we were like coached by Kevin Sheedy and Duncan Ferguson were around at that time, and I remember having Kevin Sheedy, and I think you could ask him yourself if you've ever seen him, but I think Kevin Sheedy really took a shine to me because he was left footer, I was left footer. And Duncan Ferguson did as well, because I used to just get down the line and used to whip a ball in. Do you know what I mean? Duncan Ferguson was a bit like, oh, you like that? Because I mentioned it to a few others, like sometimes at the end of sessions, Sheedy will like spray a ball to me, I'd take a touch out my feet and I'd cross balls for Dunk, you know what I mean? At the end of sessions, 10, 15 balls, repetitive. So I feel like under 13s was probably my breakthrough, where people probably stood up and went, actually, this fella's not just because he's big and he's grew, he's got a bit about him, he could play.
Yeah.
And then that's when, around 14s of when I heard that like City was sniffing around me, and then that's when decision time. But I thought, yeah, I'll go.
You were sort of at Everton, like player wise, then that.
So in my age group, it was sort of like, you've had Elliot Richards on here before, haven't you? So it was me, Elliot. You've had there's Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon's on there. Kyle John. I don't know if he's still at Everton. Yeah. Kyle John was there. I like called Cody. He's a Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday now. Yeah, we got a few. We had a few. We had a few in there. We had Stephen Duke McKenna played a year's arm for us. So we played, you know what I mean? It was a fairly decent team, you know what I mean? We could hold our own. Bobby Thomas as well, he's playing at Burnley or somewhere like that
Bristol
now. Yeah,
Rovers, I think.
Yeah, Bristol Rovers, or I think he just come back from loan or something there. But yeah, so we had like a fairly decent team, do you know what I mean? Not for Everton. We didn't have like the teams of like the years above, where like you'd see like Liam Walsh and you'd have Anthony Evans and you have all that. But we had a fairly decent team. I don't think we were ever at the top of the academy's teams, do you know what I mean? But we weren't bad either. We could hold our own against certain teams and that. So yeah.
Are you surprised Gordon's ended up becoming like he ended up going Newcastle for 40 million, 45 million? Like at that time, did you think he'd go on and come that good?
I can't say I did. I can't say I did think that. I think that he had a little bit. I think he had a bit about him. I think he was skillful. He was nippy, but I didn't. This is my personal opinion on it. I didn't think he worked nowhere near hard enough to get anywhere near that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think he had the body stature, and the fair play to him. He's built up and he's bulked up and that, but I just didn't think his work rate was anywhere near it. I didn't think he was the Everton style of player. Do you know what I mean? That would go up. I think he was a very good player, and I think he was. I probably had him down as one of the ones to leave Everton somewhere and go to a lower league club and rip it up. Do you know what I mean? And then come back up. But I didn't expect him to. But fair play to him, he's done well out of it, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's doing well for himself. But that was it. I just didn't expect it. Just not on football ability, just more of an attitude and like work rate side of it. For me, he didn't have that. You know what I mean? I remember a few times like I'd grill him over it of like, run, work hard, and help me this, that, the other, because he used to predominantly play ahead of me, left wing, and I was left back. But you knew he always had like the technical ability. No one ever doubted that. But he came to the academy late, so to be fair, probably when I left, he'd only been there 2 or 3 years, so he'd missed a good chunk of it. Do you know what I mean? So my early. So to be fair, probably when I left, he probably got that development in, and then obviously behind my back, by the time I've come back and I've seen him bloom, and that's probably when I've gone to City, he sort of worked on the stuff that I probably worked at when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? Type of thing. Yeah.
So how did it like come about leaving Everton and obviously moving to City then?
I broke my ankle, and I was sort of in a way, an agent got in touch with me. I remember walking home from school one day, from All Saints, and I remember getting a text saying, blah blah blah, it's so and so. Can you let me know your dad's number or something like that? So I just thought to text my dad, you're all right with that? He said, yeah, go on. Send to me. Anyway, I got back. He went, oh, he wants me to meet me later on, go for a coffee in Costa or something like that. So I said, yeah, go on then. So we went, and he came back and he went, yeah, he said he's gonna go back, gonna go out and find out if anyone's after you. Do you know what I mean? And see if anyone's, because around that time I think I was gonna get offered an early scholarship. So that was like, I was 14, I was about 15 and 16, but I still would have got my scholarship within it. Do you know what I mean? So I would have got that like 2 years early. But when you get that 2 years early, that means that once they offer you an early scholarship, that means your price tag goes.
Yeah.
So once they've offered you that, your price tag, no matter what, goes up, because we've given them a scholarship. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've given them an early one. So we went, before they do this and blah, blah, do you want me to check? And my dad went, yeah. My dad always had in the back of his mind, it was either City or United, that he knew someone was sniffing. An agent wouldn't just turn up out the blue, you know what I mean? He came back like a few days later, said, oh, do you want to meet up? Anyway, I was on the couch, my dad came back. He said, it's City. City want you. And I remember being like, okay. That was just at the time that City was that like 2014, 15. That was when City had just like, I think they just sound like, you know, when they sort of sound like Mangala, and they got, you know, where the money was properly getting pumped, and like you got like
we won that first FA Cup.
Yeah. And then it was like, and then after they had like the Pellegrini, and they still had like Dzeko up front, and they still had like but then they got like Mangala. They had like all these players who were coming in for like decent money. You know what I mean? I think that year they got like Gael Clichy or something for like, you know what I mean? They were just throwing money about. And I remember thinking, okay. So I was like, it's up to you what you want to do. And I was adamant. I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay. I'm happy. I like it here. I'm gonna do what I want here. I like it. I'm set up. I feel like I've got a future. And rather than me speaking to Everton about it, because I don't think I could, because once Everton would find out that for definite, they'd offer something up underneath my nose, which could mess everything up. Do you know what I mean? Of like a price tag or whatever. But to be fair, City did actually sort of say that no matter what happens, we will pay the fee no matter what. So I don't think there's a pressure. Yeah. So like, for example, if they did do that to me, they were like, we're not going to back out of it. Because once I've said, oh, I'm leaving, and City pulled out of it, Everton would have sort of went, you know what I mean?
That's a lot for like a 14-year-old to even consider, though. Like,
that's what I mean. It was a lot at the time, but they sort of said, look, don't worry. Whatever they do, whatever happens, whatever fee that we have to pay, whether it's tribunal, whatever, we will pay it to get you.
What sort of fee would it typically sort of be if that came to that?
I think my one was 275 grand.
That's ridiculous for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, for 14. It was about
with no guarantee that they're going to make it.
Yeah, it was about 275 grand, and I remember thinking it could go up to it. It could have went up with the pre-scholarship coming underneath my nose, or if it went to tribunal, obviously it's just whatever they say goes, doesn't it? But I once I decided to, I said, no, I'm not going. My dad went and had a little look around. He came back, and I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going. I had a training session Saturday morning one day. I think my head fell off. I think I wanted to test myself. I think something happened within the session. I remember thinking, actually, you know what? I want to go and test myself. Do you know what I mean? I want to go and play with these players and sort of do whatever. You know what I mean? Because I knew at the time it wasn't just a normal contract. It was all the years plus a 2-year pro when I was saying 17. Do you know what I mean? So everything wasn't just a scholarship. It was like, here's your pro. So I remember just thinking, so I never done a scholarship. It was just straight onto a pro. So I remember thinking, right, that's actually, because I could do a scholarship at Everton, but I could just do, at the same time do a pro at City. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh, what's going on? And I remember thinking, oh, no, I came back to my dad that Saturday morning. I said, no, Dad, I want to go. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I want to go, make it happen. So winning that, I don't think, I didn't go back to Everton because I think we were that worried that something would go wrong with it. Whether like somewhere, I didn't turn up 20 sessions. And that wasn't that wasn't me being like, I didn't want to. I really wanted to, but it was the risk of a contract going underneath my nose where, like, you know, where like everything could drag out and it could last. You don't want to be like lasting a year for something to happen with a tribunal.
Does Everton try getting in touch with you during that time?
Yeah, so they tried to get in touch with me a good few times, and I didn't. And then I had a few lads saying, "You're leaving, aren't you? You're going to City." So I knew something within the club. Someone went to, and he's going to City. He's doing whatever. So they tried to get in touch, and then they gave up after a bit. So I literally had like 3 months out, just not doing anything, not turning up there, which was obviously horrible for me because I didn't get to say any bad bye to any of the lads. So the next time I see them, I was rocked up in a City shirt, you know, to play them, and I sort of felt like a bit of a big time Charlie, do you know what I mean? But it didn't mean to come across that way. It was just the way that it had to go for it to go smooth. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, in the end, it came to the end of July 2014, I think it was, or whatever. And was it 2014, 2015? I think it was 2015. And then I joined City from there.
Was that like a big culture shock? Because I can imagine it to be a lot different at City, just the facilities compared to Everton. Even though Everton's probably are good, but
Everton's are good, but it's nowhere near that. I remember turning up and it was just sort of, it was different. I knew all the players. I knew the players that I'd be playing when I knew what ones had just come in. So obviously I walked into a changing room in the first one. Obviously like Bobby Duncan. So he was one of my best mates. In the changing room we had like Taylor Richards, who was at Brighton. Now he's on loan at QPR. Felix Nemecha, Jeremy Frimpong. Who else have we got in there that we've got? I'm gonna leave people out that shouldn't deserve to be left out. So Sancho was in the one above with Phil Foden, Tyrese Campbell, who really good mates with because we went to Stoke then together.
He's still at Stoke now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still there. But we went to the changing room to Taylor Richards, Felix Nemecha, Jeremy Frimpong, just after Fizz Faseo, who's at Sheffield Wednesday now. Ella Sims, who's we've just had like players that were proper players, you know what I mean? And you went in there and you just sort of like, okay. And I remember going in thinking I was a decent player, and I remember thinking, okay, these are proper players when I went in. It was sort of a culture shock for the first year for me. It was tough. I did find it really, 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 really tough for the first year. I remember thinking, like, I doubted myself a lot. I remember thinking, oh, what's going on? I remember lads who brought me in were sort of saying, oh, keep at it. You'll be all right, you know what I mean? You're more than well good enough. You just, obviously, it takes time to acclimatise, and that's why I have sympathy for fellas now who come in to clubs and play, and like people are writing them off in the stands. Like, being Liverpool games where people are writing off Cody Gakpo after 5 games. What does he have? He's coming from a different country with a team who were doing awful at the minute, you know what I mean? In everyone's everywhere with injuries about. You can't write people off, do you know what I mean? I had a whole year where I was thinking, have I lost it? Have I lost this? What's going on? But it wasn't. It was just acclimatising to everything. I went to school up there, different school, travelling to and from to school, back home at the end of games, and it just took a lot of acclimatising. The first year I really, really, really struggled. But it wasn't until probably like under 16s and onwards that I sort of found my feet, and I thought, no, I proved. I don't think I was openly, I don't accepted by the lads, as in like, I think they expected me to come in and be like more of a footballer, which was more as in like technical, like Taylor Richards and dribbling and nutmegs, whereas I'd sort of say my style of play is, I think I'm a really good passer. I've always said that I have a really good passer and a crosser, but I'm sort of one who gets in your face, tackles, screams and shouts, nasty to play against orders people, barks at people, that type of thing, which I don't think they had there. Do you know what I mean?
That's not really the City way, is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I've turned up as a scouser in like sort of that environment, and they're all a bit, what? Me getting in people's faces, you track back here, you do this, you know what I mean? You do that. Winger up against me, who are you? You know, you're coming up against, you know what I mean? And facing people like against Chelsea, Callum Hudson-Odoi, you know what I mean? Like, who are you? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Oh, you know what I mean? You know, them type of things. And the lads are just sort of like, lads for City are just sort of like the Cockney lads are just like, who's this mad scouser that left back here? You know what I mean? Because I am a little angry fella on the pitch, you know what I mean? And that's what I think they expected me more of a footballer, but I wasn't. And obviously when I came in, and the lads accepted me more after about a year, they understood me qualities and was actually like, no, he's good at tackling, gets in people's faces, he's a good pass, he's a good crosser. Listen, we're not going to ask him to dribble with the ball, you know what I mean? He's not that type of player. And also I think they bought into the fact of what I brought us into the changing room. I think I was a good character to sort of have there. I always had a laugh. I was well liked. I always had like a good bond with different types of people, you know, with foreigners, you know what I mean? The lads from London, lads from Manchester, me and Bobby. I sort of got along with everyone, do you know what I mean? And it took me the first year to properly acclimatise, but from then I felt like I really kicked on, it was massive culture shock from Everton, but the facilities there are just, it's just like, they were just amazing, and like, you're probably in all of them loads of times. Like, I can't explain what they've got. You name you name it, and they have it.
Do you think that makes that much of a difference though on the pitch?
Yeah, like,
or do you think in a way you're too comfortable there? So
when
it does get tough,
you are too comfortable, because like you go everywhere on like nice buses. You go everywhere on like literally everything gets done for you. You go to like I was getting chauffeured from school from home at 7:15 to St. Bede's in Manchester in Moss Side. Then I'd go training half a day. At the end of the day, I'd text what time to get picked up by. I'd text them to get what time to get picked up by, and they'd be outside waiting, and they'd ferry me home. I was just like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like, I'm a 15-year-old kid. Like, why are so many people pandering to me? Do you get what I mean? Like, I just had everything just sort of sorted. It was like, do you want to stay upstairs tonight? And it's just like, they have rooms above, and it was just sort of, everything just sort of got done for you. Do you know what I mean? And like, you'd have your tea before you go, your dinners, and everything that you needed was done. Do you know what I mean? And you are too comfortable, because I remember like sometimes you play certain games against certain teams, and I don't know who did we used to struggle against a certain team. I think it was like Wigan.
Yeah.
I think it was Wigan. We played Wigan like 2 or 3 times. We got beat every time. And we're like, these players, and I don't think any of them who were playing have gone on and done anything. I'm thinking of like the team that we had. It was sort of like, why were they beating us? Because they wanted it more. Do you know what I mean? They were like a team full of scousers predominantly who came and were in our faces. Do you know what I mean? Basically a team full of me, just for 11 of them. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the lads like would a bit shaked away from it, and then that's when it sort of like, that was a bit of a wake up call, because I remember the coaches sort of saying like, look, you aren't going to have everything nice. People are going to turn up here and want to kick you and boot you and scream at you and beat you.
Because you were City as well, with the reputation,
Yeah, and I think it was also as well like, and a lot of the time when we played against Scousers and stuff like that, we played like Liverpool and you play all them, people always knew, like, me and Bobby were always there, so everyone always wanted to like, sort of leave a marker in on us, you know what I mean? As if to say, oh, you think you're City, you know what I mean? And when we used to get beat bad, and they'd be like roaring in our face and stuff like that. But that's what sort of happened when about under 15s and 16s. We won the Floodlit Cup, we won stuff like that, but predominantly it was just friendlies of getting games and whatever, and just getting. We probably play teams like that more to try and get us used to that type of thing, rather than playing like we play Arsenal a few times and that, which is nice, but we beat Arsenal all the time. That's like, why? Because they play nice football and we can play nice football and way better players.
Yeah.
But actually, like, if you look at it, like that Arsenal team, it's like Bukayo Saka. So Bukayo Saka was he was a left back predominantly then, but he played like right wing against me, and I remember having like a good game against him. And I look back and it's like, I look back at that Arsenal team, I was like, why do we do so well against them all the time? It's like, because they wanted to play nice, neat and football, but when teams actually came and mixed it with us, we struggled, do you know what I mean? And it was just sort of like, and a lot of the time it was Scouse teams, predominantly Scouse teams, we used to always struggle against it. It was just, they're just nasty, just hard to play against no matter what. I think if you last a Sunday League team against, you know what I mean, you have like Sunday League kids against, I think they'd struggle, you know what I mean? It just Scousers just have something about them where they just make people fold, do you know what I mean? They just make people crumble. And I remember like lads just like, what's this about? And they always be screaming, kicking, people will be on the floor shouting in the face, and the mums and dads on the sideline like clapping it and stuff like that. And everyone's like, I remember like in the changes, everyone's like, you're a lot of weird, man. And I'm like, what do you mean, my lot? Scousers? And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Don't tarnish us all.
You'd think some of the lads from London, though, especially, I don't know where they're from, but some like are quite
yeah, like
rough,
I know Taylor's from like Shepherd's Bush, which is obviously like a proper, you know what I mean, like not a glamorous area, like a bit of a rough area, but anything like that, like he used to hate getting kicked, you know what I mean, and people screaming in his face. But listening, it used to happen all the time, and people used to want to come and lay a marker on us at City, because I think everyone thought of us as like prima donnas. Everyone knew that we had everything done for us. We went to school in a private school. We had all the houses there. We got ferried on chauffeurs. We have like Ellison's buses to everywhere. We have our planes going on different tours and whatever. Do you know what I mean? And I think everyone just sort of was like, no, we're going to lay a marker on you. We used to struggle against teams that used to do that, really.
Yeah.
What would you say your favourite game was at Everton and at City?
What was my favourite game at Everton? I'd probably say my favourite game was probably a derby against Liverpool. I scored an header. My dad had been giving me grief for months, saying that you score headers, I can't head the ball. And a ball got floated into the back post, and I just came in and bullet headed it right into the top corner. I think I was 12 then. Yeah. But we won, but it was like a horrible, gritty win where Liverpool were always a better team than us, you know what I mean? But we fought and we showed desire and we wanted it, and that made us win. And me game for Man City, what would I probably say for that? Probably beating United in the under-18s in the Premier League. That was good. They had like Angel playing, like Angel Gomez. They had like Chong playing, Greenwood, stuff like that. We beat them at home. We think we beat them like 4-0 in the end, 3-0, 4-0. So I think that was like, that stood out because they were a proper team. Do you know what I mean?
How
they
did
had
that
a proper
compare
team.
to the Merseyside derby?
A lot different.
Yeah.
A lot different, I think. Yeah, I think it is a lot different. It definitely is different. It's not the same, and they say all derbies the same and whatever. It's not. It's completely different. It's a feeling. I know it's only like 18s, and like the ones where I was doing 12s. The Scouse one's nastier. Do you know what I mean? The Merseyside nastier, but 100% it's really nasty. Whereas that one's a bit different. Especially as we're our age, is like you got me and Bobby, who like playing the game. Oh, Bobby didn't play in them ones, but it's like sort of like you got me, you got like Nabil, you've got Eric Garcia, you've got people like that. So for Ika, you got foreign lads Alpha, you know what I mean? You got people who don't get it as much. And sort of they had like Chong, they had a lad right back, I can't remember what his name is, but he's gone on and done decent things. But they still had like Jimmy Garnett, they still had like Dylan Levy, they still had Ethan Laird, they still had like Chong, they still had Gomez and stuff like that, Angel Gomez and stuff like that. Mason Greenwood. Some of them would get it, but it was not. Everyone in the Everton Liverpool game, they got it. Do you know what I mean? They got it more than that. And I think I used to always pick myself up a Manchester derby, just like it was a Scouse derby. Like I'd be right up for it, going in people's face and stuff like that. But I got the feel off a lot of it that actually it was just another game. Do you know, for a lot of other people. Yeah. But to me, it always felt different, no matter what a derby.
Who was the best player at City then that you played with? Or was there any that you thought like should have made it that didn't?
So you obviously You got Phil Foden, you got Tyrese Cameron, you got Jadon Sancho in the year above. You got like there's just your 3 standouts, and other players are like still doing really well in the Championship and whatever. But our team, you know, like Eric Garcia, I really got on with Eric Garcia. I really rate him. I think he's really, really good. I think he's a leader. He's like a fella who's older than he should be. Do you know what I mean? He's older than he should be. He's only young, but he's like a grown man. And I think his agent was Carlos Puyol, and that's what got him over. I remember just always saying, we was giving him jib about like his agents and stuff like that. But the best player, I'd say, I thought about this. I'd say the best player, and he's at QPR now. He's on Brighton, and he's Taylor Richards. Yeah, I love Taylor Richards. I think he's an unbelievable player. I know that he's got a few injuries at the minute and stuff like that, but I think if he put his head down and knuckled down and he got rid of his injury problems and stuff like that, I think he's a proper player. He's tall, strong, quick, dribbles, shoots, range of passing's unbelievable. And I seen him doing well for Brighton at the end of last year. I think he was, and then he's gone on loan to QPR. He hasn't quite hit the ground running there, but I think he's the best player, and much as, and the one that I absolutely love to watch, and I have so much respect for. I think he is a proper player, and I think there's only going to be some day that probably he comes out and does something big. Do you know what I mean? If he gets it right, he will be a proper player. And I'd probably say Curtis Anderson is the same like ways, who's not major, not major. It's the wrong term to say. Who's not gone on to the teams that and he might still do, but. Curtis Anderson won the goal. Was the goalkeeper who won the World Cup with the under-17s, I think it was.
Yeah.
Curtis Anderson, really good mate of mine, like one of my best mates. But he was a proper goalkeeper, like really, really good goalkeeper. And he made the leap of faith. He went to America and played in America for a bit. Left City, went to America. Thought that's a mad move. He was adamant by it. And since he come back from there, he didn't rate it out there. He come back and he struggled with Wickham's like second or third goalkeeper for a year, and then he's ended up being at Lancaster in one of the leagues, and he's not even getting a game there. And I think it's absolutely mad. Like, that's just how football can work. But I genuinely believe he's the best goalkeeper I played with. You know what I mean? He's a proper goalkeeper. You can't win the World Cups with, you know what I mean, and be nothing. He's a proper goalkeeper, and it's sad to see him like obviously not getting, because I can sort of relate to it myself. But I think he's probably one, and as a goalkeeper, I think he's a top goalkeeper. I think in a few years' time, if he gets the right look and rub in the green, he definitely could be up somewhere, you know what I mean? He could
it's different with keepers too, because still only young.
Yeah, they are.
Most keepers like don't peak till they're in the 30s.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And he's only 22, and I keep, every so often I'll text him, keep going and keep at it and whatever. It is just madness. Football's just a mad one, isn't it? It happens. Just.
What do you think it is? Why do you think some people that like go on to make it? Do you think it's skill, or do you just think it's some of it's luck?
No, I'd say it is about 20% skill, and I'd say it's about 80% luck. Like, I just think it's the maddest luck. I think it's the most, especially sport, but I think life in general is just luck, isn't it? Like, I do. Like, there's players that you see and you think, he's a proper player, why isn't he there, or whatever. It's like injuries happen, or being the right place in the right time. Like, I've got a story on, like Zinchenko. We were training, and he come out and started shaking our gaffer's hands, and then everyone's a bit like, who's this fella? I mean, who's this fella? But remember when City had that, well, do you think they still do? That big loan group to sort of get people from other people, buy them, then loan them out, like what Chelsea used to do type of thing. Yeah. And he came over, and I was like, that was the warm-up. Anyway, guys shouted there, you're on there, mate, you're on there. So we looked over, and he was part of the loan group, so we had like a few others, so we had like Patrick Roberts and all them lot were all on there, like training. In the end, he went over there, and Guardiola had asked for, Guardiola had asked, and I think Rodolfo Barel used to be at Liverpool, ran over and said, hey, yeah, lads, he said, hey, can we have someone, we need a left back type of thing. So we looked, and we were playing the day after, and he went to say, Ryan, our session was done. He went, no, save it. We went, no, we're playing tomorrow, Rodolfo type of thing. He went, yeah. So literally, they went from being me to going up there to literally to being left back for them, and like only in a shape thing, do you know what I mean? He went, no, and he went over there and he went, looked. And Zinchenko always used to play like centre attack and midfield, centre mid. And he went up there and he played left back. Anyway, he started training with them for a few weeks. Now look at him. He was in our loan group. Do you know what I mean? Like he wasn't anywhere near it. They came up looking for a left back, and I was gonna go, but we had the game the next day. So we said, oh no, we need to save his legs. Actually, we'll save these lads. Like we played on like the Tuesday, and then we were playing on the Saturday. No, save their legs, go over there. So we went all right, he went left back, left footer. Yeah, Alex, yeah. Went over. Stayed there training, and then I remember seeing him playing the Carabao Cup game. I'm thinking, he's actually got something out of that. And then now look at him. And that's a story that I always go on about. Look, he came and trained. He was going to look training us. He didn't know. It was one of his first days there. He's only just signed from wherever he signed. And then that's where I always think it's luck. And there's injuries being in the right place at the right time and just sort of hitting form at the right time and having the right person to believe in. You know what I mean? If you have a manager that particularly doesn't like you, he can make your life hell for a good while. Whereas if someone loves you, no matter if you throw an iffy performance and they go, no, go again. I trust you. Do you know what I mean? I trust you. That's what it is. I think it's these, like, for young lads, they need to know that it's not just like, if I fuck up here, I'm out. You don't need that. You need someone to sort of say, look, if you fuck up, I believe in you. I think you're a good player. I'll give you another chance, and I'll give you another chance, which sort of like goes, gets your shackles off there, and you're a bit like, I get you. You know what I mean? Whereas I think a lot of people, especially young, because it's literally a lot of times like one chance and you're off, aren't you? You know what I mean? You literally get that little snippet. For example, like Rashford in that game in the Europa League, he wasn't nowhere near. Like if he doesn't score in that game, or he doesn't do anything, I don't think he does what he does now. Do you know what I mean? Because he wasn't even getting a game for the 18s at the time. Like Will Keane was injured, wasn't he? So they couldn't recall Will Keane or someone, and someone else was injured. And then they ended up getting him. I don't think if he played well there, particularly on that Thursday night in that game against whoever it was, I can't remember, was it a Norwegian team or whatever?
I'm not sure.
Would he might well have, but I don't think
in a row, didn't he?
And then he scored against Arsenal on the Sunday and stuff like that. And I don't think that would happen. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think it's such a luck game. I genuinely do. I think it is massively luck. 80% skill, 80% luck, 20% skill. You've got to have the skill, but luck's so important on it.
So then, like, moving on from City, how did you then come from City to Stoke?
So I just literally, we went in for a meeting with Jason, and Jason was going to offer me another contract. And it was literally another year contract, so it was in the January. So okay, year contract. And we're playing much though, Jason. Like, I'm going to get somewhere. I preferably play like a 2 or whatever. Get a loan or whatever you want, you know what I mean? Or we're giving you a 1 type of thing. So I remember thinking, let's try, I could take that, but let's get the feelers out. Let's see what we can do here. Anyway, he went away and come back, and he come back with like a good few. He came back with like the Stoke, Norwich, Brentford, Sheffield Wednesday. There was one more that I always forget. There's always one more that I always forget. Anyway, there's 4 or 5 of them. I remember thinking, like, they're not bad clubs, you know what I mean? Stoke had just been relegated. So you think, you're still in your head, like, they're a Premier League club. Sheffield Wednesday are still there. You think they're a decent club. Brentford, they're on the way. Norwich, they're on the way. You know, that was when Norwich were like up and down, and you think, it's still around here. And you look at them, you think, they're a decent team. So I remember thinking, actually, they're 4 good clubs as a young player to go to, and sort of like try and make a. So I remember speaking to a good few of them. I remember meant to be going down to Brentford, but then Stoke come in and said, come in for a meeting. So I went in for a meeting with Stoke, and they come out with, I don't know if it was, looking back, it would probably Spiel on it, like, you know what I mean, come out on the board and give me all these like things of what we want you to do, and Eric Peters hasn't got long left, and we want you to be taking over this, and we want you to be playing reserve games, and but we predominantly see you at left back in the future. We really like the way you are and whatever. And I remember walking out, and they were like, okay, what's the formality? And we went, we'll give you a 3.5 year deal. So obviously walking out there, and you're thinking, Stoke, an hour from home, 3.5 year deal, just being relegated from Premier, you think, and they're saying that they like you. And it's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You sort of like, okay.
Like you'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like Stoke, but how long were they in the Prem for? Do you know what I mean? Like, they should have been relegated. I don't know what the state the club were in at the time or anything like that, but I remember thinking, like, that's a good shout, that. So I remember going into Jason. I said, look, Jason, I'm Stoke, and he couldn't have been better. Like, he couldn't have been a better. Like, I think he's such a legend, Jason Wilcox, and I've always got along with him. I think he's a very nice man. I don't know if he's gone to Southampton yet or not, as like their chief executive, or if he is, but he was really good with me, and he was like, he was like, do you want paying out on like the last few months of your contract? I remember being like, yeah, can do if you want to. He was like, yeah, I'll sort that for you. It'll be in your next pay. So I'm like, go on then, sound. Yeah, so obviously, literally ran up to Stoke, got the formalities of their contract, and I went on deadline day, and it took ages because I had like a loose vertebra in my back. Went for all my medicals and that. The doc wasn't happy, but I was like, no, trust me, it's fine. It's just a loose vertebra, blah, blah. Got sent for another scan and whatever, took ages to come back. It didn't get done until about 10:30, driving out. I turned up there about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Didn't get done till about 10:30 because when I came in, it was me and Sam Vokes together, because Peter Crouch just went to Burnley the other way.
Yeah.
Sam Vokes and Peter Crouch on a swap deal. So I went there, I said my goodbyes at City, and off I went to Stoke, and I thought, right, this is a good move, do you know what I mean? It's a perfect one, but evidently it wasn't. Like, yeah. And then I went there, and it was completely different to what I liked, what I thought of. And you know, when I was speaking about someone today actually at work about something like, it wasn't about this, but it was sort of like, do you know when you go somewhere and you sort of know something for you or not?
Yeah.
Do you when you have that like gut instinct? And I say it all the time.
Straight away.
Say it to my mum all the time. Like my mum says, I just don't like, mum, you got gut instinct. And I said it. You have a gut for a reason. It's telling you something. And I walked in at Stoke, and within the first day I went, I don't like this.
Really,
I don't like this. I didn't like the feel of it. I didn't like the people around. I didn't like it. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't. I didn't like it. And people at Stoke might say, oh, that's him. Look at him. He's coming in with that negative attitude straight away. And I remember just saying, it's not particularly against them or anything like that. I just didn't. And I remember listening to someone on TalkSport say the same thing. Someone signed for maybe West Ham or someone like that. And he said, I literally walked in and I just didn't have the feel for it. And it's like anything. And if you go into a job and you sort of go into an office and you think, nah, this isn't for me. That's happened loads of times at loads of people, you know what I mean? And I felt that, but I got better with it and I got to know all the lads and stuff like that. And obviously, then the end of the season came. I was at the end of the season came with that first 6 months or whatever, and then I properly like had my pre-season behind and like obviously like playing all my reserve game football, and then I felt like I'd done well that year. I felt like I really kicked on and done well. I think I had before that COVID year I had 1 goal and 14 assists, right, and that's from left back. And then look, I'm not gonna say I'm the best defender you've ever seen in your life. I'm not. Right, I'll put my foot in. I'm not scared to go in for attack. I'm not scared to put my head in somewhere like that. Defensively, 1v1, am I the best? No, I'm not. But I remember thinking, actually, but for me attacking output, it sort of balances it up. Do you know what I mean? Having 14 assists from left back isn't no mean feat. Do you get what I mean? And I remember thinking that at the time. But they were so thingy on me neck on like your defensive side. Yeah, I get that. I get it is. But sort of give me some praise for this side and sort of go, actually, it balances it out, do you know what I mean? And they were so negative on that side. I remember thinking, okay. But at the same time, Trent was doing the same thing. And I remember thinking, like, but he's playing week in, week out. I don't think many people are, you know what I mean? He's getting assists and all that. And he's defensively, he isn't as good, do you know what I mean, as what he can be or certain people are. So I got 1 goal and 14 assists. And I felt that like I'd done really, really well. I felt like there's a lot to improve upon, but the actual raw bits are there. I felt like I progressed every game. I got on better and better and better and better and better and better. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I think I'm not too far off here. I remember thinking I'm not too far off here. I'm just like an injury or a suspension away.
Yeah.
A cup game, something like that. But the first year, Nathan Jones was the manager who brought me in. So you got Nathan Jones, you got Mark Cartwright, who was the chief executive, you got Gareth Jennings, the head of academy, and then you got the scout. Within the November time, I think it was, or December time, in my first full season, they'd all been sacked. Do you know what I mean? So that's like, the gaffer's gone, chief executive gone. So the gaffer who brought me in, who's okay the deal, chief executive handed me the contract and said, yeah, I'm okay with that. The academy manager, who obviously looks after the reserves and all that type of thing, he's gone. And the scouts who put all hard work into me and drew all the clips, they're all gone.
Do you feel lost then?
You sort of feel like, who the fuck's got me back here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone who's rated me and everyone who sort of said, him. Everyone who sort of went, yeah, him. I'll have him. Yeah, he's good, him. I'll back him. You know where you sort of saying the shackles off? We believe in you. Go on, we believe in you. Everyone who I felt like believed in me weren't there.
Like a safety net type thing.
Yeah, it's a safety net. And they sort of went, and I remember thinking like, oh. And I remember at the time I didn't think too deep into it. When Michael O'Neill came and I knew a fella called Andy Cousins who turned up, he was at City as a scout. I remember having a conversation with him in the canteen, and I've said it before, he sort of said like, Ryan, don't worry, bide your time. I said, I know, Andy. He said, what's the script like? He went, oh, we just need to get all these off the wage bill type of thing. So we've got so many on the wage bill. Got loads of like Deadwood, we need to get them on financial fair play. But once all these get out and that, we'll start bringing us up, you know what I mean? Start saying us all the time, getting amongst it. He said, that's what we want, that's our view. So I remember walking out the canteen with my coffee, and I'm thinking, oh, like, you know what I mean? I want to a bit of a win in here. Andy Cousins just come in and done that. And then the Cove, and then obviously like the COVID sort of the COVID came in, and obviously we had to come to a stop. And I went back after COVID, and I must admit, yeah, I was a bit out of shape, yeah, but so was everyone. Do you know what I mean? Come on, think about it. We were months there doing nothing. You can send us on how many runs you want. We're still not going to be properly on it, are we? So I remember doing like gym sessions before, bike sessions before, training sessions, then gym sessions after, and a bike session after. As well as them loading me full of like protein and creatine, or creatine people call it, isn't it? Or whatever it is, whatever that is. And I remember going on that type of stuff, but look, for my bills, I remember going on that and I remember feeling awful. Do you know what I mean? Like, when people have a certain weight that they feel like I'm comfy in that. If I go lower than that, I feel awful. If I go higher than that, I feel awful. But I was working hard. It took me a while to get it all off. I got it all off, but they were giving me like this creatine. Yeah, I'll have this. Get on this. Anyway, I played again pre-season friendly against Peterborough. And Ivan Toney absolutely ripped me to shreds. Like, I was awful. It was the first game of pre-season. I must admit, I was awful. And it's not great to have Ivan Toney facing against you anyway if you're properly on it. But never mind, like, if you're way off it. And I remember coming off, and the manager put me. He's like, then a few days later, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He said, "What the fuck's up with you?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Like, your body." I said, "Look, my body's all right. My body's all right." "What's up with you?" I went, "Look," I said, "forget about all this." I said, "Go in and speak to these." I said, "Because look, I'm doing all these gym sessions, I'm doing all these biking sessions, I'm on all this stuff, right? I feel awful. I feel heavy. I feel horrible." Do you know what I mean? I said, "You go and have a word. If you're not happy with my performances or whatever, go and have a word with them and tell them that sacked off." Do you know what I mean? So we went in and whatever. I got all the creatine out of me. That was sacked off. All the protein shakes. Never done that in my life. Didn't want it. I didn't feel good. Anyway, I started coming back to form and that. I started playing well, and this was during pre-season, and Kev sort of come up to me. He was like, this is his he's like, "You're doing really well here, you know." He's like, "By the way, you'll be going up there a lot more, you know, you'll be in and around there if you carry on with this intensity. You look sharp, you look good, you look this, that, do that." Literally within, I think I worked it out. I think I explained it to me dad. At least within 4 days, I got told to find another club and I won't play for the club again. It's like, that's where I can't. On a Friday, I got told, I'm not too far off it. You are training with such good intensity. You are not. This is the best shape I've seen you in. So 4 days later, being told you go to someone else,
caused that mad change.
I don't know. I had a short corner. I do something in a pre-season friend where we had a short corner to do with. A lad took a short corner, and I ran over to the ball and I went, I went over to take it, and he was over the ball, and I sort of looked at him, and then I just gave him the eyes and just said, "Pointed in there," and he just played a straight ball, and I just ran onto it and just whipped it in across with my right foot. Got cleared away anyway. Referee blew his whistle. It was against Sheffield United. Got beat 1-0 pre-season friendly at the training ground. But Ryan Shawcross and Liam Lindsay were playing. They were our centre halves coming up for the corner. And he went to the end. He was like, "Why are you taking the short corner?" Blah, come on for the lad who took the short corner. Like, anyway, he just sort of didn't say anything. I said, "Oh, look," I said, I asked him for it. I said, "I think it was good to try. It was a pre-season friendly. We got nothing, you know what I mean? So it's worth being." Yeah. They do tell you sometimes, use your initiative, you know what I mean? Pre-season friendly, try something out, whatever. And I just remember Shawcross come, just give me a right old bollock and like in front of everyone, sort of saying like, calling me a cunt, calling me this, that, the other. And I remember all the lads just sort of looking at me. And I remember me old lad I was just looking at him. And when you're looking at him, but you're fuming, but I couldn't physically say anything. It was sort of one of them, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to understand, it's like Steven Gerrard for Liverpool grilling a young lad, you know what I mean? Like everything, you can't do anything. All that he's done for the club, which Ryan Shawcross has, he's done all kinds for the club, you know what I mean? He's an absolute legend for them. He's so many appearances, guarded them, promotion, and he's been in the Prem for God knows how long. So I can't come back, and I'm going to change him. I had to go. A few of the lads, like, you know, take winding you up, don't you, at the end, like, I'm fuming, and I'm in the bits, like, the lads like that, "Shit yourself there, aren't you?" You know what I mean? I'm like that. I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, lads, I was like, "Come on, like, what am I meant to say here?" Do you know what I mean? What can I say? I come in on a Monday, and Gavin pulls me and just said, "Oh, that happened." Yeah, he went, "Oh, this happened to me years ago against so-and-so said this to me, and so-and-so said that to me, and this, that, the other, and you know what I mean? It happens, a big season pro will come for you. It's just how you take it. Sometimes you just try and test your metal."
Yeah.
Which I thought, it's true. He might be just trying to test my metal, might be trying to do whatever. Got told, brush under the carpet, done. Trained. Then 3 days later, you face don't fit the club. You need to leave.
Do you think he's had a say in that? Shawcross himself.
Yeah.
Surely though, just from a one mistake, even if you made a mistake that led to a goal,
maybe I don't think.
I'll
be honest. I don't think that was the mistake. I think there was already something where he didn't like me anyway. I do believe that. I think that because he sort of called me a cunt. It sort of said something along the lines of like, no wonder everyone upstairs thinks you're a cunt.
Like he had an impression, like already.
Yeah, of like, and upstairs automatically means upstairs, which is gaffer, chief exec, board. Do you know what I mean? That type of thing.
What do you think it was though? From if you're looking back, do you think there's anything there?
I think, and I'll be honest, and I think a lot of people who aren't Scousers probably might not get this, and might sort of call it like oh, like I've seen a few people call it already to me like the victim mentality. I think a Scouser going to different places, a lot of people don't get Scousers.
Yeah.
Like, they always think like you're coming across dead aggressive. You want a fight all the time. You want an argument. You're doing this. Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't a lot of the time. I'd stick up for my mates. I'd look after my mates, so I'd speak up. I'd try. Maybe I would speak back. Do you know what I mean? If I'm fuming, maybe I would go. You know, if someone disallowed goal in the training session, you know what I mean? What are you on about? How's that? You know what I mean? I might get sent in for 5 minutes. I might get sent in from a training session. But there was nothing ever sinister. And like, I believe if you look at like all the kit men, you ask the kitchen staff and you ask the cleaners, the stewards, the physios, the sports scientists, what was Ryan like? I genuinely believe everyone go, Sam, what a lad. And that's not me being only in trouble.
Yeah.
I was. Mark the kit man, Neil, I absolutely loved them. I had the boss relationship with all the physios. I'm there every morning laughing and joking. Stewards outside, morning, how you doing, whatever. Have a laugh and a joke with them, go upstairs, the chef. I was just always, you know what I mean? I was always just nice and polite, having a laugh and joke. Yeah, I was like a bit of a, what do you call it, Jack the Lad. I was always up to something like messing around, but that was never anything sinister. I never went anywhere too far. But I sort of believe that people sort of see Scousers in that way of being like, as a bad egg. Do you know what I mean? And he's sort of like, you know,
they're rubbing off on the rest of the group.
Yeah, and I remember like, this was like a day or two before the winter. It's like, yeah, cheers, yeah. Where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go for 2 days in the winter? Do you know what I mean? We haven't played for months because of COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing came of it. Anyway, in the end, then you started, obviously, I'm starting to train alone and stuff like that. So I was in a changing room at first with like, before the window properly shut, it was like me, Mama Joof, Kevin Vimmer, Moritz Bauer, Julian Ngoy. Do you remember Mbula? G. Mbula came on Porto. Eric Peters at the time. Jeff Cameron, anyway, Jeff Cameron went to QPR. Eric Peters got a good one to Burnley. I think he's still there, isn't he? Eric Peters, I don't know actually, but he played in the Prem for them definitely when he left. G. Mbula went somewhere, I think. No, G didn't for a while. But anyway, Kev, Mama, and Moritz stayed. And we ended up just sort of being in this changing room, sort of just like dummies. Do you know what I mean? We used to come in and just we'd train on our own and stuff like that, and then we do like we'd help the reserves and do like we'd be part of the other 11. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be dummies, and then as soon as that had finished, we'd just start running. Yeah, run yous. See you later, lads. All the other lads text my group chat, blah 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 blah. See you tomorrow, lads. Coach leaves at so and so, and you're walking in at like 8:30 on your own. Do you know what I mean? Just to come in with a sports scientist and just run. It was lonely. I remember thinking to myself, hang on, I'm a young footballer here who needs a career. You've got to do your best to give me a career, right? And my biggest thing on it is, I come out on Twitter and I said it, and the biggest thing that I got from people was, it happened loads of times. Failed footballers, blah blah blah. You're a failed footballer. You didn't make. Get on with it, blah blah. Like, that's fine. A manager didn't like me. Like, that is fine. I 100% get that. A manager didn't like me. That can happen anyway. In any walk of life, a manager, a head teacher, whatever, might not like you. That's fine. Yeah. I asked to play reserve foot games, right, to get me the best chance of going to find a club that January or the following summer, right? To get people to be like, yeah, come and watch him. Do you know what I mean? He's playing here. You know what I mean? Come and have a look at him, see what you like. I asked for that.
Yeah.
They said no reserve games. Yeah, Kevin Vimmer, absolute legend of a fella. Absolutely love him. One of the nicest fellas I've ever met in football. Legend. Not going against him on here. Kevin Vimmer, who's already been at Tottenham and Stoke and whatever, got his massive CV. What a CV he's already got. Do you know what I mean? he has to play. And then he's playing.
Yeah.
Him and Morris Bauer are playing. Right? Why are they playing reserve games, football, when I'm not? They're going to get a move no matter what.
Yeah.
Because of who they are.
You need it more.
And they're on 30 odd, 40, 50 grand a week. You want them off the wage bill, so you're going to find someone to take them off you. But I was asking, and they wouldn't play me. And that's the biggest thing. Why aren't you playing me? And all I wanted to do was play, to be in the shop windows. And I remember asking loads and loads. Anyway, the October came and I got COVID. I didn't realise I had COVID, and I ended up getting pretty bad. I ended up having like pneumonia. I remember going for like screening on my heart to see if I had scar and tissue, but I never. I ended up having like I had pneumonia and I had long COVID. So I remember saying and stuff. I remember like being off, and like I was off for like 2 weeks, and not one fella from the club had asked me to text me. It's on my phone here. Like not one fella's asked me, say, "How are you doing, mate? Are you alright?" I remember the first one that I had to text was, "When are you gonna like allow me back in or see me?" We'll call you later. Because that's only because I've said that.
Yeah.
You were happy for me. You know what I mean? Not one person got in touch with me, and that's true. I remember speaking to, I'm not going to drop him in, but I remember texting this certain fella, and he got back to me and he went, "Right, I'll ring you later, bro." I didn't know that. But it's sort of like, hang on, like you got a fella off. Why haven't you spoken to him for 2 weeks? So I sort of went there, and I sort of went to the club. Nothing was right with me back and stuff like that. Like sort of like pains and the thing. So I went off a little bit longer. When I went to the long COVID clinic and whatever, I got like diagnosed with long COVID. I had pneumonia and stuff like that. But then I had like follow-up appointments, right? But this might be a mistake, this might not be. But they didn't send me messages to say me like I had appointments at certain hospitals at certain times, because like I'd be doing something. Is this Ryan Corrigan? Yeah, it is. Oh, it's so and so from Manchester Royal Infirmary, blah blah. Just checking you're still okay for your appointments at 10:10. You what?
Yeah.
Come on, you know what I mean? I've got long COVID. I've had pneumonia. Let me go and see. You know what I mean? Get me sorted. And I feel like they weren't asked about me, to be honest, because I feel like anyone else, they know about that. And that's what sort of my biggest bugbear was. I sort of like, I asked to play games and they wouldn't, and we went to the PFA. I just think they're a waste of time, to be honest, like and stuff like that. I think it's they're a waste of time. You pay your money a year, and the one time that I needed them to help me out, there was nothing there. And maybe that's just the way for football, isn't it? That's why I think something needs to change, because in football, you're allowed to be treated like that. Do you get what I mean? It's easy. You can't walk into an office and someone says to you, "Yeah, you work in that room there. What? You can't talk to all these. You know what I mean? You go in that room. Yeah, try and find a new office by the end of the week. You know what I mean? Do you get what I mean? It's not, that doesn't happen.
From everything you've said there, like there's a big push with all football clubs for like mental health, and particularly men's mental health. Yeah. All that there must have been so bad for your mental health. Training on your own. Yeah. Then obviously you've went in, asked to play reserve football, and then you're the only one who's not allowed to play. That's just so bad.
That was my biggest bugbear.
That's terrible.
That's my biggest bugbear on it. The one that I wasn't allowed to play, yet the others were, and people can't get their heads around that. And that's the reason why why can't I play for the reserves? Yeah, Kevin Moritz and Mama can. That's what I couldn't get my head around, and I'm a young lad who needs it, and like it was hard, and it was because I remember, and it's like, I'm not afraid to say, like, I remember the day that I got told, it was the day before my birthday, because I found a new club, because it was a shock for me. I went home, and my dad was just there, my dad was just on the couch watching the racing, as he always is, like, he's just like, "Alright, yeah." And I just burst into tears. He's like, "What the fuck, you're alright?" And I explained it, and my dad was sort of like, "Nah, I'll be alright, you'll get your nose your way back in." I was like, "No, Dad, I'm not nosing my way back in here." I burst into tears, because it was sort of like, such a shock and such a thing to know that my problem was, I got told it was nothing to do with football, more of a personal thing. So no matter what I do, if someone told me you're not good enough, I could go in there every day and try and prove a point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can be in the back of my hand. You know what?
Yeah.
You think he's better than me? There's no chance. Do you know what I mean? But when you get told, because you're as a person, nothing's changing, it's only going to get worse. And I just remember like certain stuff would get put up. We used to always have quotes that like used to be put up, like a quote on the board where like it'd be like with your timings of everything, and get changed, and you come out to like the boot lobby and you just have a look there, and it'd be like, there was one quote, and I remember the lads went, "Yeah, Ryan," I went, "Well, yeah, come and get on this." So one went, "Definitely at you here." So I had to look, and it was like all the matchsticks are on a line. If you remove one matchstick, it stops the spread of fire. Yeah. And I remember thinking, hang on a sec, you're doing that in like the 23s area. To all the lads, what name me one player that you pulled out? Me. So you can't be at anyone. You know what I mean? That was so at me that I sort of remember that. And I just remember just being lost. And I remember being like, going into train. And so I was like, how's the footy? I didn't want to speak about it. You just say I was injured. All the time. You just say, back's playing up. Never was. You just say it all the time. Rather than going through to someone and explain the whole rigmarole of it, you know what I mean? Or the whole spiel of it. I remember just going home and I'd be like, going to Stoke and I'd be home by like 11:30 before loose women finish. I'm like, that's not life. You know what I mean? I'm on good money as well at the time, which is not me saying like, oh, I'm on good money. But I'm on good money for what? Nothing.
But I think felt that's like why there's a lack of sympathy though. Because you could say like a junior's going to work every day at 9 to 5 for I don't know how much, and then even if you're not playing, you're still getting that money. So people are looking at that thinking, what's he moaning about?
Why are you moaning? You're going for but I want to play football and I felt like a bit of a waste because everyone around me going, actually he's a footballer, but he's actually not playing football. What's he getting paid for? You feel a failure. I was getting money, I was going home, I was just like, just getting it. Bored, I'm just looking at the telly, I'm looking at my phone, I'm thinking, I'll be 12:30 at Sedgefield's going off for a minute. Go on then, yeah, you know what I mean? What's that going there? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Sean Bones riding one there. Oh, go on, yeah. I'll have 50 each way on that. Do you know what I mean? Just like, because I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. Do you get what I mean? I didn't, anything that would clog me time where it would normally be like, train, eat, gym, get changed and showered, you'd be out. But 2-3 o'clock, you go, you know what I mean? Your day's mostly done. You're chilled, aren't you? Whereas I wasn't. So I was just trying to get anything. And because it was during the autumn and the winter, it's dark. I love golf. I love going to play golf. But I don't play golf during them. So that can't fill up my time. Yeah. So then I'm just like, I'm just betting on things, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get home, like I'm looking at French racing over in like Chantilly, and I'm like, yeah, go on, I'll have a bit of that. Bangalore in India, go on, I'll have a bit of that as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm just looking, I'm betting on racing that loads of times where I've flicked on, I've put a bet on like kart racing over in France, and I'm like, sitting there, like, what am I thinking? Well, what's happening here? Like, the lads are in gym now. And I'm backing some dud in kart racing, you know what I mean? Some 12-1 shot that fell out the back of the telly or trotted after 5 minutes. I'm just like, I know I laugh and a joke about it, but that's the way that I am. I laugh and a joke about it, but I don't feel that certain people could laugh and joke the way that I did. And I remember getting really low, and I genuinely still say, without going like too deep into it, I genuinely believe my relationship with my old girlfriend, like the foundations of the whole year that I had there, made us not be together. Do you get what I mean? I just feel like that was it was a burden on her without her being like, she probably won't ever hear this, but you know what I mean? I'm not going too deep into it, but I probably put so much on her that I didn't even realise, you know what I mean? Like I was just a right old grump. Yeah. I was just like, you know what I mean? I'd come home and then I'd lose a few $100 on the horses, and then like I'm in more of a mood, you know what I mean? And then I'm watching the racing again in the night, and I don't want to watch footy because why do I want to watch football? I hate football. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not getting away from that. I like horse racing at the time, and the golf's not on, and the PGA Tour's not on because it's the winter, and cricket's not on because it's the winter. And everything which revolved around like me just being bored, being a grump. She'd come home and be like, "Do you want to do something?" I'm like, "No." Why would you want to? You know what I mean? Do you want to go to the pitches? Do you want to go and do? No. Yeah. I don't want to go out. You know what I mean? Yeah, do you fancy going for a drink? No. You know what I mean? I sort of felt like I had nothing in life to be like cheery about. Do you get what I mean? And I sort of like, in the end, it got to the point towards the end where like I'd sort of, towards the end of the season where like I'd go out more and more because I was wanting to just like drown it basically. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to just like have a laugh, have a few drinks and just forget about it at the time. Which I never would say that I ever got like really, 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 really down where I'd ever do something daft. But for someone like me to be down isn't like me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that down. It's like, and I know mental health is a big thing, and it is. But I feel like I took it so much better than a lot of other people could have, and I believe other people in my situation, it could have been far different. And I mean that, like I genuinely believe that.
Or
like
could
that was,
it easily ended up pushing someone to the limit?
Yeah, I genuinely believe it could be far different. It's not me saying. It's not me being exaggerating it. It genuinely is. I felt so much of an exile and an outcast that even like we had like a few drinks at like, one of the lads' houses in Stoke, which is it was on a racehorse. It was on a stables where a few trainers lived and had all the horses. So we had a few drinks in there on New Year's Eve. A few lads there, and you know what I mean. Anyway, we got found out that we were sort of in the house type of thing, and which we all owned up to it, was you think, yeah, we were there, yeah, we were there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, all the lads got fined like half a week's wage or something like that. I got fines a week's. That makes sense. Why? Because Ryan's cross borders, that he drove across COVID borders.
Yeah.
Right, so I get more. Okay, fair enough. There's your first one. Okay, I'll get that's petty, but yeah, go on. You know what I mean? I'll let you have that. I didn't though, actually, because we were already training that day and I went straight there. But whatever, yeah. Anyway, a bit later on, they asked for John come up to me. Right, John Simpson's the fella who owns the big the house and the stables, and I'm like, Ryan, the club have just been in touch. I said, yeah. I went to. They're asking for CCTV of like the complex. Like, wow, why did I have a right to have CCTV with the complex? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was trying to see things, and I went, John, you got nothing to give them, mate. So like, if it's the police, you give it to them. Apart from that, you don't give them to anyone, do you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, he starts asking, who drove? To the lads, who drove? Did Ryan drive? Did Ryan have a drink and then drive to the shop and all that? And what he was trying to do is just get one of the lads to go, yeah. And try and get me done on like a drink drive. They wanted me out like so much. And they were sort of like, and I can't have been that bad a lad to have as many mates that I did at the club. Do you know what I mean? And to get along with so many and still speak to so many. And I just felt it was a real mad one. And I remember one day they just pulled me and just sort of said, hey Ryan, I went, yeah. And he went, how you doing, mate? It's Kev Russell. To be fair, I didn't mind Kev Russell. I thought Kev Russell was alright. I thought he was an alright fella, but I felt like he was a bit of a puppet, like he's sort of being ran, which every reserve manager is. They are puppets, aren't they? Behind the scenes, they ran by other people, so which is fair, and he's even admit that himself. Hey Ryan, you're all like me? Yeah, I'm sound, yeah. You all like, yeah. And he just went, look, have you not just thought about like just knocking on the door and just saying, give me money, get off? And I remember just hitting the roof, and I went, right, you come down here pretending like you care about me, dropping that all in.
Yeah.
I went, go upstairs and tell whoever's told you to come down and ask me to get paid off. Basically. So I'm not doing it. Because it was my sort of backing up to be like, no, I'm not backing down to you, because that's what they wanted, you know what I mean? Be hitting you so much. Because I remember one time I come in at 8:30 and I'm like waiting there. What are you doing in so early? Well, I normally get in about 10 to, don't I? No, 8:30. What are you getting in for? It's a training type of thing. The lads aren't in until 2:30. So why aren't you telling me that? I don't know. So I went, I'm in now. We weren't even training with the lads anyway, just doing running. So I went, can you go and get so-and-so to go and do the run? Came down, can't do your running, mate, till 2:30. What? Why? Why can't you do it? I said, I'm here now. I'm going at 2:30, you know what I mean? I'm here now, we're only doing running, just me and you, 20 minutes, blast. Can't we? Gotta wait for all the lads. So they made me wait there till 2:30 for the lads to turn up, do you know what I mean? I wasn't getting off because they would have fined me. And that's what they would have wanted. So I stand my ground, I was like, no, I'm gonna stand there. But like little things like that made me sit there for like 5 or 6 hours waiting for the lads to come in. And I'd done a 20-minute session, I was off. Just started at 2:30, I was gone by 3, showered and changed. There was like little bits where it was just sort of like that, but that would push people to the edge. And like, as I'm saying, like I go home, like how possibly could I be the best version of myself at home when I'm doing that? Do you know what I mean? When that's just getting said and just stuff like that. And people don't realise, and people sort of say, where you said like, how's the money and whatever, people sort of say, people don't get what it's like in football clubs. It's so different, that way you can get treated. It is so different. And people do say, look, you're a young lad, you're on good money, blah, 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 get on with it. You're a fair footballer, someone didn't you like, you get on with it, happens in loads. Yeah, I get that. Am I having a problem that Michael O'Neill didn't rate me as a footballer? No. It's nothing to do with that, by the way, because when we had the conversation, it was nothing to do with my football ability, which I get. But the treatment that I got was wrong, really, really wrong. And also certain treatment that certain lads got were playing reserve games football, yet I wasn't. That's where it's all a problem. I don't have a mind if someone doesn't rate me as a footballer. Yeah. That's fine. I think you're wrong, and I'll try and prove you wrong. I will. But that wasn't the case of the whole of it at Stoke. Do you know what I mean? That was just a bit of a. And I had the last year there, and it was just horrible for me. I was just sort of there, and I was just sort of put my head down, and like, I remember a psychologist sort of saying to me, "Went, hi Ryan, yeah." I went, looking forward to the game on Saturday. That's about like 2-3 months into like my exile. What? Looking forward to the game on Saturday. I just looked at him, and you taking the piss? He just sort of walked on, and I'm thinking, does he actually? Has he forgot that I'm not allowed to play any games? Or is he doing that to push me buttons? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know out of that one. But either way, for a psychologist to do that and not come back down and go, Ryan, I've completely forgot me. That's the worst thing I've ever done. are you all right? I'm sorry to say that. When I've said that, he must have went upstairs and either thought, haha, got him. Or if he's thought, oh no, he doesn't actually, I've completely forgot. He should have come, for a psychologist to do that.
Psychologist, yeah.
A psychologist. Oh, we got loads of psychologists. Did anyone come off for a chat with me? No. Yeah. So this all, it's just box ticking. You know, they say, oh, we've got psychologists, we've got all the help for the lads. No, you haven't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You got nothing. Do you know what I mean? You got nothing for the lads. Like, it's just an absolute, and it's a farce. And like, since I left the club, I didn't get one text. It's like, okay.
How did you leave then? How did that come? How did you end?
They had the reserves had like a playoff final or playoff semi-final of a playoff final, something like that. And he went, oh, cheers, mate. He was like, thanks anyway. He just showed me hand. Kevin also just pulled me at the end of the training and went, oh, thanks, mate, that's you. I went, oh, no, I said, I've got another 2 weeks. Haven't we got another 2 weeks? Like, I was playing. I think I was in a mood anyway at the time. I was like, all the stuff over the months, I was just trying my best to fight back and sort of. He went, no, mate, like, you know what I mean? We've got big games coming up. I think it'll be better if you just go. And I just looked at her and I went, yeah, fair enough. Shook their hands and literally just went into the changing room, just emptied all my locker out and put it into a big boot bag. And I must say, I probably, on my way out of there, I literally spoke to about 2-3 people. That was it. Never said any goodbyes to anyone. No one in particular come down and see me, said thanks for everything or thanks for this or sorry how it pans out. Nothing. Just a completely like, see you out the door. Just jumped in the car and drove home.
All this is just like, it's just a proper disgrace.
It seems more hassle for what it's worth for them though. Surely that's a lot of effort to outcast someone like that for them rather than just trying to move them on.
Yeah.
Surely that's easier.
Mm-hmm. But I just feel like it was just, they didn't want that, and I just didn't get the whole script on it myself, to be honest. And I just thought, as you say, it's a disgrace, and that I'd never actually called it that. But the more I look back on it, it is a disgrace. Yeah. Now I'm working in a school, and obviously we'll get on to that. I'm working in a school. That can't happen in a workplace. Do you know what I mean? And like, I left, and I've done 2.5 years for them. No matter what you're doing, I've done 2.5 years for them. At least come down, someone say, oh, thanks for everything, mate. I'm sorry I panned out and blah, blah. I walked out and I spoke to 2 people, not one text, not one phone call afterwards. Nothing. Just like, see you later, done. Loads of lads, I didn't even see loads of lads text me like, where are you? And you know what? I still put on like the it's not me being like a martyr or being anything like that. I still text all the lads. Good luck, lads, in the semi-final. Good luck in the final, lads. Blah, blah. If he's winning, I'll meet up with you and blah, blah. And I still see some of them, you know what I mean? We still go for a drink or whatever like that. But I was never, ever a bad person or bad. I am just the way I am. I am opinionated, which Scousers are. Which they are, aren't they? They are opinionated. They do come across aggressive when they're not being aggressive. Like, just asking a question, like, lads, what are you doing? Like, that comes across, like, to them. Yeah. To any other people. Like, what? But if I just went to you, lads, what are you doing? You just take it like, I'm just having a drink. Yeah. And you go, oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything, like, they interpret everything as, like, you're the big Scouse, you big, massive character. And I think they felt that I was rubbing off the wrong way, which I don't think I was. I think I had a lot of positive influences within the club. I genuinely believe that. I think I brought a lot of people together. That wouldn't be. Like, and it says that, like, if I've got various mates from different backgrounds, different countries, you know what I mean? I can't have been that bad a person if I got along with so many. Do you know what I mean? And, like, the actual real people who work with me day to day, the kit men, cleaners, kitchen staff, physios, I kind of had such a good relationship with them for me to be a bad person. And we, obviously, in the end, like, James McLean ended up sharing the changing room with me. He got the same treatment. We had Scott Hogan, ended up during the season being in the same predicament, and Mark Duffy. He was the same. Stoke, just a known club for this bomb squad thing. I've never known a club like it to have so many who they just go, I see you. And like, you're into this changing room, which is, I don't know, it's like Narnia, that changing room. As soon as you walk into that certain changing room, you know, you're in a bad place. You know what I mean? You're just walking in all the same faces, just like, yeah, all right, lads, you know what I mean? Every morning was the worst, looking at everyone's face. It was just like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? It was just like absolute madness. I remember sometimes, like, G and Bula would drive to France, like, straight after training. He'd have a day off, he'd drive straight to France. Like, rocking about, like, and I remember one time we rocked in and, like, certain people would cheer, like, it shed light. Like, Mama Juve was an absolute boss fella. One of the best fellas ever. I've still seen him, like, sometimes we're going to Manchester and there's a nightclub history and, like, you just see Mama Juve with, like, a kind of Red Bull just, like, popping it off, and I was like, oh, hi, Mama, like, he's still, like, that was what when I was there, one of the nicest fellas, but, like, G and Bula just jump in his car and drive straight to France. I mean, turning up at, like, 10:30 one day, and I remember, like, someone going, G, you move your car? Is that your car? You only drove like a little Polo. Is that your car? Yeah. He just parked it like in the middle of the car park, blocking everyone in. He come in with like a pair of like Ugg slippers, just walked in. I went, where have you just been? He said, I've just got back. From me, he had awful English, but I said, where have you got back? And obviously, Mum and a Dan for him. He went, just went to Paris. Went to Paris when? He went, do you not know that? That's what he does. He just, any day after he went, he just used to just drive in his car and go to France. That the experience of that changing room was so bad. He just drove, just kept driving to France every day and come back, and he was just like, just some mad stories that you have of it. But honestly, as much as it was bad, it's an experience, and it's one that you can take like loads of positives and negatives from it. It definitely made me a better person. It's definitely made me more of a stronger person. It's definitely what opened my eye on mental health. I genuinely believe that, because I would never have felt that I'd feel anything like that up here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, once you do, you're sort of a bit like, oh, that's a real thing. And I think everyone sort of thinks it's a good thing to talk about until it actually happens. You realise actually what it is. And once that happened to me, I was sort of like, okay, now I know that I'm a stronger person. I can take loads of things, but there's positives with it, and like you can't always look at it as a negatives. Like I met some like cracking fellas through it, you know what I mean? I've properly got to know like Kevin and Mama Juve, and you know what I mean, proper like you could say the mates, you know what I mean? And like as much as it's an awful experience, there's always positives that come out of it. It's just my sort of scenario is that like I took a lot of, once I come out with me interview the other week, I took a lot of flack for it, and it's sort of like I'm not a bad person. That's my side of the story. I hope that it comes across that the way I want it to. I just believe that I was treated really unfairly in a workplace, regardless. And I'd like to state again, like I do all the time, I do not mind if somebody doesn't rate me as a footballer. Yeah. That is fine. Yeah. Just treat me as a person. Don't treat me like I'm not a person. Do you know what I mean? Don't treat me different to anyone else. That's fine. Don't rate me. You didn't rate Kev Wimmer. You didn't rate Moritz Bauer, but they still played. They still got certain treatment. Yet I never. So that's where my whole thing comes. But yeah, it was definitely a tough time. It was a time that I was really excited by, but a tough a time in the end. I'll look back and I'll be like, I really struggled there. Yeah. So
what are you doing now then?
Yeah, so I literally left there and I had a few months in, like, I call it the wilderness. I was in the wilderness. I was just a bit like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what do I do now? Did I want to get back into full-time football? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did want to. But the more I thought about it, the more the days went past, I was sort of like, I used to see people going to work and sort of like Liam, my brother. Obviously, my dad and whatever. More like Liam going into school and doing stuff. And like, it's like, I'd have a bit of that. Like Saturdays and Sundays off. Like our Liam's, to be fair, he doesn't have a Saturdays off a lot. Liam's referees in the conference. Yeah. So he's still into his football and stuff like that. But he's like, got a Saturdays, and like, for example, like a lot of people have like the Saturdays and Sundays off, and they know like they're finishing that time. I thought, I wouldn't mind a bit of that for a bit, you know what I mean? I haven't had that ever. I haven't had that bit of time where I can be like, I can do things, because like, think from when I was 17, I sounded pro. I haven't done the 18 parties. I haven't done the concert squares properly, you know, like having a proper life and having a proper, like, I'm not saying proper life because people would say, oh, you did have a proper life. Yes, I did have a proper life. I really enjoyed it and done loads of things that I didn't think that I ever could. Like, for example, went to China for a pre-season friendly, been to Croatia, was on really good money, done all these experiences, met some unbelievable people. Yeah, I have had the life, but like this sort of life, I've never had. So I just sort of was like, I looked for something like that, and I thought, what can I do? There's only two things in my mind I could be. I was like, I can either be like a coach or working like a school. Because I always thought working in a school, you can still be a kid. Yeah. And like football, you never grow up. Do you know what I mean? When you're in football, you never grow up. You're still a big kid. Do you know what I mean? You always have a laugh and a joke. And I went to Liam and I said, what do you reckon there? Anyway, something came up, literally short term, literally for like 1.5 term. Can you come in and just do us a favour in the school and just do it with short or something like that? Obviously, I made like qualifications and that. Obviously, give me all the stuff to do me qualifications. So I went, yeah, go on then, I'll do that. Do me qualifications for them. She said, yeah, come in, just come in for half term, just see how you get like it. Give me for half term, like it. Yeah, I'll do another half term. Yeah, I'll do another half term. Do another half term. Do another half term. And in the end, they really, in the end, they I think they pretty much liked me, and I loved it there. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing well. I'm working with predominantly like 2 boys who just need additional support type of thing, and I get to do PE a lot of an afternoon and PE sessions, and do like all the after school clubs and like a lot of the after school clubs, all the football clubs. I'm going to do cricket in the summer and get out to tournaments that we do. You know what I mean? And being with the kids as boss, because like you see, I've got 2 good need additional support, and like So I'm sort of like one-to-one with them, do you know what I mean? Predominantly of a morning, and then of an afternoon I'm freed up, do you know what I mean? I sort of do like sensory circuits for certain other kids and PE on certain days and whatever. I enjoy it because you see kids who are struggling with certain things, and it's sort of like, I relate to that. You know, when you sort of like, I can't walk past on a corridor without saying hello to a kid. You know what I mean? Like, without walking past, be like, "Hi mate, how you doing?" And ask how they're doing. That's because I don't want, and it sounds corny, and I said, I don't want them to feel how I felt. Like, I see some kids who don't want to come into school in the morning, who are like in tears and like behind the mum and that, and I sort of think, right, hang on a sec. I wasn't in tears and I wasn't behind my mum, but they're a kid. But in the same way as a grown-up, I was feeling the exact same thing of a morning.
That, yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't in tears and I wasn't out. I was still getting my car and going because I was growing up and I was like, I have to do this. This is my job. I am getting paid to do this. I have to go. But I felt like that in a way. And I remember thinking, I remember it dawned on me, I seen one, I thought, that's how I felt. And I always try, and I've always just, I have a way of being like positive and trying to help the kids, and seeing the kids smile and just be like happy they're doing anything daft. You know, having a game of dodgeball and joining in, and the kids loving it, you know what I mean? Like the other day, I went into the classroom, and my brother works in there as well as a teacher, like type of thing. My brother's like sort of away on his laptop and full of his class, and it was that snow day. Just walked in, I tapped him on the shoulder, he turned around, just flashed a snowball in his face. Kids loved it. Kid come up to me today and I'd say, like, Mr. Corrigan, he'd say, yeah, he went, that was so funny, that was the best ever when you threw a snowball at your brother's face. And I remember just thinking, oh yeah. And I walked away and I thought, like, I've made it. That was like a week ago. He's still made up by it. Do you know what I mean? Just like doing little things like that. It makes me so happy making the kids happy. I know it sounds corny, but that is genuinely the truth of it. Do you know what I mean? I just sort of felt, I went through a patch of feeling awful that I just thought, no, I don't want anyone, even like staff members, I don't want anyone to feel the same way that I felt. And doing that, it was like we were saying, like by skill and talent and luck before, by me getting into this is pure luck as well. Like having a brother and something coming up. If not for that, what would I be doing now? Do you know what I mean? I might have been still being in the wilderness. I might have still been. That was pure luck again. So I've been doing that now a year. That was pure luck for that to come up. So that's why I believe in life. I've jumped into something and I feel like I'm good at it. Well, probably I'm good at it. But that was more by luck than anything else. Do you know what I mean? I would never have thought of doing that. It was just sort of like, that's luck, and I've grabbed it, and I honestly really enjoy it. And obviously I'm doing my coaching now as well at the same time, and doing one up in Halewood now where I'm doing a few sessions with a lad who used to play at Southport, where Adam Anson, he's offered me like some coaching stuff of doing that. So yeah, I'm really happy with the minute. Yeah, I'm content, as I'd say. Yeah.
Do you think you'll get back into the playing side, or?
I think I will. I think I'm playing now over Sunday for the Lobster, and I love it. I love the lads. I love the group chat. I love it, like bouncing. I love winning games of football. I love just the changing room of it all. I love it, and I love playing football. And it's like reignited my love for football with it. And I think the gaffer they basically said to me the other day, like, I'm under no illusions that like at some point like Saturday teams and like you're gonna get back into it at some point and whatever. And I was sort of like, well, at the minute I'm enjoying it, but I sort of feel the same way as what he's just said. Like, I'm under no illusion, and I feel like, yeah, I'm getting the love back for it a little bit, where I could be like, yeah, because it's what I've done, and it's what I'm best at. You know what I mean? I am. Yeah. I to go from being like for 5 years professional football and to doing nothing, it's a bit of a steep one. I know that I can go back, and I haven't lost, and I know that I can go and do it. So I think it's something that I will do, but I think I will base it around my work at the minute, because I think I love that too much. You know what I mean? I think I'd probably do like a conference, where I can have to pair them at the same time. I wouldn't jump into anything for a year contract and lose the job to be in the same position a year down the line. So there's a lot to go into it, but but I'm enjoying it. I love the cricket as well. Like I'm playing cricket now where my dad used to play Cheshire Lions. We won the league last year and stuff like that. I love cricket. Love bowler. I love chirping. I love being in people's ear. I love the banter. I love everything like that. So at the minute, I feel really content, and I have my golf in the summer. I feel like I'm filled with stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like at the time, I was like so down, but I had nothing around me. I just had horse racing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've stayed off the gambling now for about like 4 or 5 months now. I've just literally stayed completely clean off it. So that sort of is helping me, and I'm doing like cricket, doing nets training, going footy, doing it. I'm occupying my time a lot more, whereas at the time I wasn't, which sort of doesn't help. But I will go back in. I would go back. If a proper offer came back in to go back into full-time football, I think I definitely would. I think I'm a long way off it. I think I need to go back at some sort of higher level again to prove my point, to go back up. But I definitely think I would. I think I've got the love back for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we normally finish up on what's your favourite pint?
My favourite pint? Is it got to be lager?
No,
whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Guinness. Yeah, I
on
like
St.
Guinness.
Patrick's Day this as well.
And I was on St. Patrick's Day. No, I went to Dublin the other week and I put on the Guinness, and since I've come back it tastes awful because the ones in Dublin are unbelievable. But Guinness, if I'm gonna go lager, I think I'm gonna go I think I'll be a controversial. That Camden Hells.
Can't say I've ever had it.
I've only ever had it once.
It's more of it like your derby, that.
Yeah.
Drop it is.
Yeah, it is. Not a Walton Vale drink, is it?
But yeah, so thanks very much.
Nice
Thanks very
one,
much for sharing your story. We appreciate it. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much.
Nice one.